We have a mystery on our hands, folks. A 12-foot tall golden statue of Donald Trump mysteriously appeared at the Capitol just a day ago, and he is standing here holding a Bitcoin in his hand, holding it out in the direction of the Capitol building on 3rd Street.
You can see it right there.
And this seemed to have just popped up out of nowhere. I did my research and found out this is actually a marketing stunt for some lame pump and dump meme shitcoin scam.
Yeah.
It's called DJT GST. It went to zero very quickly, as you can imagine. But the first thing I noticed about this is that it's monstrously ugly. That's the most important takeaway here. It should not be on public display. And I think this is a larger problem in public art in general and architecture as well. Even just in this photo where you can see the statue reaching out to the Capitol building.
Yeah, here, let me go back to
You can look at the beauty and majesty of this work of architecture that we are so proud of in this nation, contrasted so starkly with this awful, abject ugliness of the Trump statue. And that's not to say anything of the man it represents. It's just the statue is an assault on the senses.
It's like how the whole conversation about brutalism has been coming back up in culture these days, about building design. And you've stressed endlessly, as long as this show has gone on, about the beauty of Catholic churches and of the architecture of days of old, and how none of that is really that. I mean, this actually came up, of all things, when we were having the discussion about like Steak and Shake and Cracker Barrel and the homogenization of all of our architecture. Because when they were talking about it, what I remember somebody saying was like, the reason they've made them all into office buildings is because eventually the land will be sold underneath there, and they don't want to have to redesign the building.
They just want to sell blank commercial property.
When you go buy an old Pizza Hut, you'll always be a Pizza Hut, no matter what people say.
Wyatt Kaldenberg said, Brett, Google Un-F America Tour. It's CK Hater Destiny's group. Go to our creators, scroll down to the 12th person. Hunter Kozak is the person who asked Charlie Kirk his last question. Hunter is a leader in Destiny's group. Weird. That is weird.
That is weird.
I didn't know his name offhand, but since you've clarified, I suppose if that's true, I take back what I said about him last night. To me, from his response to the situation, it seemed like he had some level of decorum and humanity about Charlie's death, but apparently not. Anyway, yeah, that is like the deeper conversation that began from the Cracker Barrel controversy and the rebrand, is just the fact that everything is so bare and minimalist. And I would say it's not intended to demoralize you. It's not intended that way.
The Cracker
that's
Barrel,
a little
or
more on the conspiratorial side of
Yeah.
things, that people believe brutalist architecture is actually deliberately there to drain you of human spirit, like human pioneering spirit.
You go by a Catholic church, and even on a bad day, you might feel inspired by just how beautiful the architecture is there, the stained glass, all of that stuff.
I would say it's not usually deliberate, but the side effect of it is what you see here. The aim is only to get momentary attention, because everyone is in a war for your attention right now. We live in an attention economy. And ironically, I suppose in a way that really explains the meaning behind this, this is obviously not a statue made of gold. This is a statue made of basically spray painted foam.
Yeah.
It's made of foam, and it's obviously trash. That is a nod to the fact that what is displayed here is essentially trash, like everything else is in our culture today. That's why it's called the throwaway culture. And it actually was only displayed publicly from like 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. one day, and all to market this like shitcoin scam to a bunch of people who like crashed in the very same day.
I saw...
It had no affiliation with Trump, I should add,
Yeah.
as well. It's just there because it was permitted by the civil authorities, but
it's like Snoop Dogg performing at a Bitcoin conference that was labeled a Trump conference because it was like they endorsed him or whatever. But what I think is funny, actually it's sad more than anything, is like I saw this thing the other day on X, and I didn't look deeper into it, but it was a guy who posted a time-lapse video of him creating a beautiful portrait, like a portrait of Charlie Kirk. And then he posted it online, and he said he lost 33,000 followers because he did, because he made this, not even just showing the photo, but showing the process of making this large-scale portrait. It was much bigger, it was like the wall-sized. And it's just like somebody puts that much time into the art and it doesn't even matter because of the person that he's making the art for. The subject of the art was so controversial to the people that unfollowed him that it didn't matter. But that's art that takes time. And that's not what we're looking at here. We're just looking at...
This is basically 3D printed garbage right here. This was not created by human hands. It's not created really even for human consumption. And the first thing that it reminded me of course, was the 12-foot tall bronze statue of the anonymous random overweight black woman that was displayed in Times Square, I believe back in August. Similarly ugly, purposefully ugly, meaningless. And that's what I was really getting at, is that when something like this is put on display, the goal is to grab your attention for a millisecond, maybe get you to snap a picture for social media. Real art, and I would not describe either of these statues as art, is supposed to prompt you to pause and take the time to contemplate higher truths, transcendent truths, things that last longer than styrofoam, which is quite literally the material you're looking at here. And there were a couple of responses to this that at first I thought were being a little overdramatic, but now that I've given it some thought, I agree with them. One of them said, "I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I'm going into psychosis." And then another one said about Donald Trump, he's literally genuinely the Antichrist. I don't believe that Trump is the Antichrist, but I do agree with I agree with the direction that they're taking reacting to this. Okay. Because I am offended just looking at this. Yeah. And I'm not saying that as someone with Trump derangement syndrome. So I'm serious.
There's a 20 from Not That John Stewart. He says, "While I was in the Navy, I got to go to Rome and visit St. Peter's Basilica, and it's definitely breathtaking, and I'm not religious."
Yeah, absolutely. You can't argue with the beauty.
I wonder if part of it is like we just live in a culture now where, because of the destruction of our attention spans and our inability to, like you said, hold a thought for a moment, to really sit with an idea for a moment, that the art that is being created alongside it is correspondingly short in its attention span. Actually, one example I was thinking of, if you're looking at the corporate example of this, when they were doing the promo, I don't think we talked about it on here. I think I did a separate video on it. When they were doing the promo for Superman this summer, they erected a flying Superman between two buildings that probably took $10 million or more to do. Like, it was a life-size giant Superman that could be seen from helicopters. Okay. And that was their way of promoting the movie. And that's about as close as you're going to get to like scaled like that type of art these days. And it wasn't even really art. It was just promotion for a film.
We have another 20 from Shane H. Wilder. "It's like we are incapable of making beautiful things anymore. It's a sad state of affairs. To quote John Keats, beauty is truth, truth, beauty. That is all ye know on earth and all ye need to know."
Look, even when I drive by the train station, I'm going to say that, at least out here, the graffiti is not as good as I remember it being when I was young. I'm not really even kidding, which is that, everybody's seen the really bad street art that just looks like it was slapped together by somebody.
Oh, Detroit is covered in it.
Yeah, I mean,
I noticed.
But there was some good stuff out there that I saw. I had this one on the side of a bridge at the top of the abutment. I have no idea how he got to this area to do a whole piece of wall art. I mean, destruction of property, and it's not good for society in my personal opinion. But at least I had to stop for a moment. I'm like, I get how if he could have gotten to the side of the building to do something that was maybe correspondingly, if you're taking like an inch as a foot, like this wide, right? But it was as much as half the side of the pillar. Mm-hmm. How did he do that? So at the very least, if I'm to be generous,
physically impressed?
I was physically impressed by however he managed to do that, unless I find out later that it was like sponsored by the city and they had like a cherry picker up there, in which case I'm less impressed.
Well, I also wanted to note the media reaction to these art pieces and the disparity between the two. The first article that I came across about the Trump statue from The Cut says, "Things have felt pretty weird politically speaking, huh? Here's something that will certainly not help, a giant golden Donald Trump statue in front of our nation's capital. But don't worry, it wasn't put there by a power-hungry president whose regime is looking increasingly authoritarian. Apparently it was just a bunch of crypto guys. Yay?" And then the reaction to the anonymous black woman statue, which is standing at the same exact height, in Refinery 29 says, "The black woman statue in Times Square puts truth on display. Some of y'all can't handle it."
Okay, well, what is the truth? Do they explain what the truth is?
So let me see. Some folks on social media have called the statue disrespectful, fat and ugly, and even monstrous. Others likened its features to the racist mammy trope that dominated media during the Jim Crow era. The commentary has been alarming and unfortunate. It felt like there was a bigger issue at play, so I decided to go see the statue myself. With a proud posture and hands on her hips, the structure is a head-turner. She is an unidealized fictional character in plain clothes with a vacant stare and undoubtedly black facial features. Her ease is meant to give a subtle nod to Michelangelo's David and disrupt traditional ideas about what defines a triumphant figure and challenges who should be rendered immortal through monumentalization. But according to societal standards, she represents three things that no one dares to be, lest be treated lesser: fat, black, and a woman. And because of that, much of the online debate surrounding the statue sparked conversation rooted in misogynoir, elitism, fat phobia, and just plain hate. Many of those loud and wrong critics are the usual suspects, conservatives who also believe diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts are unnecessary, and racist trolls who have used AI to turn the statue into a racist caricature.
Okay.
And I still am like reading through this op-ed.
If I remember correctly, the artist purposely didn't give an explanation to what it meant, right?
Well, there was an explanation given by the artist whose name I believe is Thomas J. Price, and it was about defying the societal standard of what we believe to be worthy of monumentalization.
Okay.
Which, as we pointed out at the time, is ironic because you could have monumentalized an actual person, and instead it was this anonymous fat black woman. But here's I believe what the author was trying to argue is the truth that we can't handle. The statue looks like somebody's mother, somebody's daughter, somebody's aunt. She looks like somebody. But the way people are talking about this statue isn't just about the statue. There are ideas they hold about real everyday black women who haven't asked for anyone's validation or approval. Yet some folks are trying their damnedest to invalidate that experience and shame black women for existing outside of Eurocentric beauty standards, and also into believing they aren't deserving of being seen unless they're shapely, hair slayed for the gods, and smiling. We know that we aren't a monolith, but to look at this statue and not recognize someone in your life or even yourself is telling, and that says more about you than the art. Though calling for its removal or admonishing it may bring some satisfaction, the real issue here runs deeper. With or without this statue, people are still anti-black women, especially if they don't fit within a specific parameter of beauty standards. There is victory in the statue's very existence, not only because it disrupts traditional ideas of what a sculpture should be, but also because regardless of the conversation surrounding it, it still stands proudly. So that's just a bunch of word salad nonsense that means nothing, and I still cannot find the truth that we can't handle in it. And the Times Square statue is arguably worse because of the meaning that was imbued in it, but still, both of these statues should not be displayed publicly. I think it's a disservice to everyone who has to witness them. And I also wanted to bring up this video. This was at a protest in London where they were tossing around a giant beach ball emblazoned with the meme face of JD Vance, the like distorted JD Vance meme. This I like, because no one is trying to tell you that this is art, right? It's just a toy.
Yeah.
And by the way, if JD Vance is smart, he will be using this as a tactic if he runs in 2028, which he almost certainly will.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's gonna have to lean into it. I really do think he's gonna have to lose some weight if he wants to run for president.
Well, he did lose some weight.
He's gonna have to lose more
already,
he's
but
gonna have to lose more.
He's gonna need to go hard with the Ozempic.
He's not gonna unfortunately, like what was it we were talking about
Trump
recently?
Trump is fat.
It's different.
Different?
It's not the same thing.
Because of their age?
It's
difference?
Well, one of the things that I was pointing out, which is that JD Vance has learned to lean into the memes about him, right? Trump doesn't have to. He doesn't have to acknowledge or accept the memetics that come around him from people that dislike him. Like, remember when they did the giant baby Trump? Like like he's not making his profile picture. He's not making his profile picture. He's actually, at least as far as a cultural level, he's above it. JD Vance doesn't have the pedigree or the status to do that.
Yeah.
He has to lean into it. But to do that, it's politically dangerous because it does risk making him look
like a joke.
So he's going to have to lose some weight. But the thing is, he's caught between a rock and a hard place. And this is what Trump understands, is that when you destroy your enemy with comedy, there's almost no rebuttal if the comedy is good, right? So if he's going to do that, he can't just lean into it and show up on stage with a giant beach ball of himself as a giant fat baby and then want to talk about economic policy. It doesn't work that way. So he's already, how tall is JD Vance? Is he as tall as Gavin Newsom?
I believe he's pretty tall. He is over 6 feet.
Look, I like JD Vance's ability to tell the media to F off, and I think that that's a good thing because he's 6'2". Like, I enjoy his ability to tell the media to F off and his refusal to operate on their bad faith tactics and spectrum. But it's going to take more than that. There's a reason why they say you have to be handsome to be the president. And
I know, yeah,
in the modern age,
the propaganda that they were spreading about JD Vance prior to the election, about how like all of these women are swooning over JD Vance and his piercing blue eyes. I was like, am I living on the same planet?
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.